truth.
No chaser.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Frank here from Truth No Chaser. And yes, you have entered another episode of Frankie's Sports Bar, a place where you can get your sip on and your weekly dose of sports all in one place. First and foremost, right off the bat, I want to thank everybody for your input last week on the question that I had. Who do you hate more, your killer? If a hit was put out on you, who will you hate more, your killer or the person that orchestrated the hit? And it seems like the overall consensus was the person that orchestrated the hit, because he's the one that actually harbors the feelings and, the hatred spewed towards you and stuff like that. The killer is easily replaceable. That's just a person doing a job. So thank you for everybody that chimed in for that one. That makes me proud to say that you guys are paying attention and actually tuning into my show and stuff like that. So today, though, we have a few things to discuss. First, I don't know, your boy Earl Thomas, man. Take it easy, Playboy. Take it easy. I don't want to make too much of a joke about it because, unfortunately, guns was drawn, so we could have easily had a Steve McNair type of incident, which is nothing to joke about. You know what I'm saying? So, but for those who don't know the story, Earl Thomas got caught out there. Allegedly, he and his brother, doing what the boys do. And got caught out there, and wifey bought it to that ass. You know what I'm saying? And what's weird about the situation is he gonna go to Twitter and say, I'm not answering no questions about my brother or my wife or nothing. Bruh, it's public information right now. We got questions, baby. Like, we got questions, baby. But again, take it easy, Playboy. That's all I gotta say about that. And I'm gonna get into my last dance joint, you know what I'm saying? But before I even get into that, let's talk about your boy, Donovan McNabb. And I say your boy Donovan McNabb emphatically because he ain't my boy. Donovan tends to do a lot of reaching, man. And he had made a comment, and I'm going to read a direct quote from Donovan McNabb. It says, so Andy Dalton signs a 1-year deal for up to $7 million if he reaches possible incentives. Jameis Winston signs a 1-year deal for $1 million. Dak Prescott can't seem to get his contract he deserves. Cam Newton is still on the streets. Anyone have any questions? Am I the only one? End quote. Now, no, you're not the only one, Donovan, that has questions. I will admit that. However, one thing that we have to take in consideration, and when I say we, I'm talking about my people. We probably not the only ones that do it, but my people are the only ones I'm concerned about when it comes to this topic, is we have to learn how to not take different instances, different situations, and cluster them all together as if they should all have the same outcome. Because if they don't all have the same root, then you kind of lack comparison. All right, let me explain. So he mentions Andy Dalton. Because it's a bit of race baiting going on in here. You understand what I'm saying? Because all the three black quarterbacks that he mentioned, then he mentioned Andy Dalton's situation. First off, let's just say that Andy Dalton's situation, that was a steal. We as in the Cowboys got a backup quarterback. 1 year for $7 million. That's $3 million actually. $7 million in incentive. All right. And those incentives are like extreme. Like, if he get the $7 million, if we make it to the Super Bowl, he got to play a portion of the Super Bowl. Like, people got to read into that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Those are the details that people see. So first off, he's getting $3 million for 1 year. The other 4 comes if all of these astronomical feats are met. So, Andy, that was a steal. Now we mentioned Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, he wants to be paid upwards of $34+ million. All right. I feel he deserves that. A lot of people don't. You understand what I'm saying? But you can't say it's racism towards him. You talking about the same Dak Prescott that took Tony Romo's job? That don't make no damn sense. You understand what I'm saying? Cam Newton, you might have a point with Cam, but at the end of the day, even Cam, he still wants a starting position. 2015 he was an MVP. 5 years later, I'm looking for a backup job. Nah, player. Nah, not happening. So I agree with Cam on that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go for no backup position either. You understand what I'm saying? So now, to Jameis's point, this is where he's really reaching, because Jameis chose his fate. He was released by Tampa because they pursued Tom Brady, but Jameis Winston's market was set around 107.2 mil for 4 years. That's roughly around where it was going at. So that average is about 26.8 million per year. So according to Ian Rappaport and New Orleans football Nick Underhill, Winston turned down more lucrative offers by signing to the Saints. He was hoping to follow the footsteps of Teddy Bridgewater, who played the backup for Drew for the last 2 years. And he elected to do so. Why? Because he says that he's appreciative of being a part of Who Dat Nation, but he wants to improve in his game. I'm assuming that means mechanics, timing, reads. And he wants to do so by learning from one of the GOATs, Drew Brees. So, that leads me to believe that, he wants the potential. He has the potential to land elsewhere. But let me get me right first, is what that says in layman terms. So if he's willing to start over as a personal goal, that don't have nothing to do with race. That don't have anything to do with race. Me going back to the drawing board, using that approach, has very little to do with race, but everything to do with humility. But, that's why I could see McNabb's sentiments, because if you know anything about Donovan McNabb and his playing days, he knows very little about being humble. I'm just saying. So, again, like I said, that's your boy. Always reaching. We can't cluster. We know, trust me, I recognize what's race related in the NFL. I mentioned it in one of my episodes. I think it was episode 2 or 3, racism towards the running back. You understand what I'm saying? We know what's racist and what's not. But when it comes to contractual debates and conversations, you got to look at all the nooks and crannies, because they do think organization first when it comes to the money. So moving on, we talked about The Last Dance for the last 2 or 3 episodes, because, and trust me, my knowledge of sports extends well beyond basketball and football. But with the baseball season canceled and wrestling not having any fans, UFC not having any fans, it's kind of like nothing to talk about. They playing reruns and spelling bees on ESPN right now. So The Last Dance is pretty much one of the, that's a discussion piece in itself, baby. And I got a lot of takeaways from this last episode. It's a lot of takeaways and little colloquialisms. I like that word. Colloquialisms that came from there. You understand what I'm saying? That little mantras that can be taken with you for the rest of your life and stuff like that. But one of the takeaways I want to say, Jordan is a snitch. That's a ratatouille ass nigga right there, boy. Jordan is a snitch, baby. Like, damn, son. He like, yo, we used to have beers at halftime. The coaches used to give out cigarettes. I'm like, all you got to do is go back in the roster, you know what I'm saying, and see who was playing at the time and who was coaching at the time. You could kind of tell who he's talking about. Boy, oh boy. Anyway, another takeaway, I took the All-Star game. See these youngins, y'all youngins, man. Come on, man. Y'all gotta understand. We used to watch the All-Star games. The All-Star games used to mean something to these players back in the days, man. You understand what I'm saying? You wasn't just gonna throw a oop off the backboard and just catch it in. You know what I mean? You might have did that like for 1 quarter, but we was competitive with ours. They was in there game planning for Kobe and Shaq. He said, yo, the LA boys, they gonna come out, so we gotta be ready for them. This and that. Like, today, people like, let's have fun. try not to hurt ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? But back then, they was trying to win that thing. And then I like what he said. Another takeaway, I like what he said about Kobe. He said, that number 8 right there, that young boy, he don't wait for the game to come on. He go get that motherfucker. I was like, ugh, I felt that. I was like, yes, sir. And just the respect between him and Kobe, towards each other, you know what I'm saying? Kobe, like, yo, I wouldn't be the man I am today. Like, as soon as we got off the court, he was like, hey, call me if you ever need anything. He loved that, you know what I'm saying? And he attributes his career and the thrive to be better, you know what I'm saying? Like, just he accredits it to my guy Jordan, you know what I'm saying? So kudos to him on that. We have what else? Another takeaway. And that Nike, they came up. Nike came up on that Jordan contract. Yes, sir. You know what I mean? They expected 126. They expected $3 million return. They got 126. Oh, that's a come up. Could you imagine? Expecting $30 and you get 126? And you're like, oh, thanks. Yo. But on a bigger note, on a more important note, this last takeaway, and I'm gonna end it with this. I have another question. Like I asked the question last week, I have another question for you guys. Is everyone in a position of power? Is everyone in a position of power set to be a martyr? That's on a more serious note. And I asked that question because, the common denominator with those that stand for us is often empathy, and while we all don't have the same experiences, there's definitely a trust factor that plays a part with the person that's chosen to represent us. We all have to be careful in who we appoint certain positions, because they just may end up dropping the ball and it won't be any fault of their own. It wasn't their intentions. It's just perhaps said position wasn't necessarily intended for them. So in hindsight 2020, pardon the pun, because 2020 has been an awful year. Shit, we ain't seen nothing clear this year. But in hindsight 2020, I'm not sure if I wanted Michael Jordan to be a spokesman for us. And a lot of you guys could read between the lines on that. Do with that information what you will. But I definitely want to hear your responses from that. If you agree, you disagree, let me know something, please. Because some of our people that stepped up for us, so that was like almost like a God-given position. Ali, Kareem, Jim Brown. You understand what I'm saying? That was, those people were perfect for that role. But Mike ain't grow up in Brooklyn, New York. He was born there. Mike grew up in rural North Carolina. His experiences might be different. Therefore, the thought process might be different. I'm just saying, and I'm gonna leave that at that. So, in conclusion, what I want you guys to do is to continue supporting the Truth No Chaser brand. I want you to click and subscribe to us on Facebook. That's Truth No Chaser. I want you to follow us on Instagram at Truth_No_Chaser. I want you to check out our YouTube channel. I never mentioned that. Check out our YouTube channel at Truth No Chaser. I want you to visit our website, www.thetruthnochaser.com, where you can catch up on the latest that's going on with us and cop you some fresh gear. Speaking of fresh gear, I want to give a special shout out to my day one, my dog Rick, up in Queens with his Which Way clothing shirt that I have on right now. You can cop that at whichwayclothing.com. And also, happy birthday to my bro Zero. He is the Zero, the composer. He is the producer behind these melodic tracks. If you have been enjoying these sounds, throughout the show. He's nice on the beats. So shout out to my man Zero. And again, like I say every week, this thing is almost over. But until it officially is, stay home, stay safe, and God willing, I will see you next week. Peace.